Yeah, like I'm here in Atlanta, and there are some pretty rough looking buildings in some areas that are changing. I put in an offer just as an example. This is a property that's close to the highway, close to the airport, but not in the best community. And the property was literally falling in on itself. Some of the buildings, trees had fallen on. One of the buildings had fire damage. I think only 40% of them, it might have been 30% as I'm thinking, were rented. And it was old. I mean, it was built in 1971. And our offer on that property, because of what was going on in the neighborhood, was, right at around 30,000 a door as it sits. These people were asking in this condition, in a horrible area, mind you, right behind a Walmart, in a horrible area, were asking $75,000 a door as is. And ultimately they got it. Some outfit out of New York came down and bought it up. Now, in New York dollars, that's cheap, right? But in the rest of America dollars, that's like, why would you possibly do that? But it's my experience when you're dealing with a lot of the larger companies, larger hedge funds, larger investment firms, that they're willing to take a loss for the first year or two,
Oh yeah.
maybe even three, because they know what it'll turn into later on. They'll let them, because they don't have any intention on selling at least for 10 years minimum.
Exactly. And I've also, like, they're in a position where they've got cash to burn. So they just want any return instead of holding on to their investor cash. Like
Hmm.
2, 3% return is better than 0%. So that, yeah, they're willing to give outrageous prices to sellers and, just deal with it after the fact.
Yeah. And we're kind of meeting in our acquisitions, we're kind of meeting sellers in the middle. We're looking at it from the creative aspect.
Mhm.
And so we're saying, hey, listen, if we can work the numbers at your price, can we get terms? And on a smaller level, I know someone that does it on a scale such as yours, where they're going and buying, they're using that strategy on, 100 unit, 150 unit buildings. We're using that strategy on, I'd say 8 to 60 unit buildings, where you have more of the small operators. They generally have a tendency to be older mom and pop operations. 9 times out of 10, we can't get a T12. We've got to put it together for them. One property, and this, I'm not exaggerating, it's a 60 unit building. We were speaking to this gentleman, and he was an older guy who was just sick and tired of it, man, of the repairs, of the people. The culture of this particular asset was off the charts ridiculous. He was done. He was done with it. So I asked him for his rent roll. I kid you not. He gave me a sheet of paper with everything written on it.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
old school.
I mean, and it wasn't even organized. It wasn't like, very neatly written or anything. It was just
Scribbled.
like he wrote it over lunch or breakfast on his way to meet me. you know, for some of the units, he didn't even have the unit number. It was just like Miss Jenkins, you know. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's some of the stuff you got to deal with when you're dealing with mom and pop owners.
yeah, absolutely. And so anyway, with him, that was a situation where we went in and uh, he had a family. He liked the idea of making the money, but he did not like the idea of actually managing. So we were able to say, hey, listen, here's a way for you to get your money coming in on a regular basis. I'll give you the price that you want. Just give us the terms. And we wound up picking up 60 units from him. In this particular case, those 60 units, even though they needed to be fully renovated, I think we got it for 1.1.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And we stuck about 700 in it.
Oh, okay. Very
Yeah.
nice.
But like I said, we had to reshape the culture of that asset. Meaning, no longer was management going to be okay with mid-afternoon parties in the court. No more are we going to okay with the dumping that was happening over there, because that's always a big problem in those.
Right.
Always a big problem that you have to find a way to creatively address. In our case, we had to put cameras all over the place, good ones, so we could see license plates. And then we would
Yeah,
hand that
yeah.
footage over to the police, who would then issue them fines.
No,
But
that's great. One thing I like to do is I will also try to connect with the local police department to
mhm.
see if any officers need a nice apartment at a discounted price. We've seen also, like, even just having an off-duty cop that lives there. in
Yep.
his car that shows up. It makes a huge world of difference.
Absolutely. We did that with that property once we turned it, because when we went to the police the first time, they were like, what? No,
No one's gonna live here.
no one's going to live here. So when we kicked everyone out and went in and did the renovation, when we got through the first phase, we went to the school district and we went to the police and emergency workers and said, hey, listen, here's what we can offer you guys for moving here. And we did that, and we absolutely changed the culture. Another thing that I like to do is I like to buy them in bulk, the sockets with the USBs in them.
Oh, okay.
And I put those in the bedrooms, one in the kitchen, and a couple in the living room area, because
Very nice.
in the world that we live in today, you have to plug everything in. I mean, like literally everything you have to plug in. So just getting rid of or finding a way to effectively minimize the use of those plug-in strips, which can be a fire hazard. We just put the USB ports in the socket. We get the sockets with the USB ports in them, and people go crazy over those little things. They go crazy over them.
That's great. Yeah, I feel like it also gives you like kind of like a modern techie feel to your apartment unit.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like Nest thermostats. I know they're very
Mm-hmm.
popular. Where they cost like $100 or something to buy, but it just makes it feel like your unit's just better because there's still a little bit of technology that's incorporated.
That's right. And I think that helps with your marketing. I mean, it's little to most people, right? I won't even say most people. It's little to a lot of people, but I think you'd agree that it's the little things in life that actually matter.
Yeah, they add up.
They do. And when those little tiny conveniences present themselves, because nobody wants to walk around with the cube in their pocket. You know what I mean? So I have found a way to eliminate that.
Very cool, very cool. And I think, I mean, part of what you're doing is also you're being very empathetic to your tenants, where at the end of the day, they're our customers, right? They're the ones that are, paying to live there. And the more you can put yourself in their shoes to try to fix any single slight inconvenience or problem they might have, just makes it easier for you to attract the better quality tenants.
I'm giving you everything you need to find success as a real estate investor. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel and like this video. See you later.